When INFJs tap into what many people call their psychic powers, something electric happens, something that feels less like intuition and more like standing at the intersection of emotion, energy, and foresight, watching invisible currents move before anyone else even realizes they exist. It's not magic in a mystical sense, but it feels supernatural because INFJs don't simply observe people. They absorb them, decode them, and often understand their intentions long before those intentions take shape in words or actions. When an INFJ steps into this mode, their perception becomes razor sharp. An INFJ can sense when someone is lying, even if every logical indicator says they're being truthful. They can feel when someone is hurting, even behind the brightest smile. They can detect tension in a room before a single word has been spoken. This awareness is so instinctive that INFJs often struggle to explain how they know things. They just know, and it lands with a certainty that makes other people raise an eyebrow and ask, "How did you figure that out?" If you want to truly understand yourself and unlock your full potential as an INFJ, check out the INFJ Purpose Compass today. The link is in the description of this video. When they fully lean into this psychic-like power, INFJs don't just read individuals, they read systems. They see patterns not as disconnected details, but as a flowing story. They can walk into a situation and instantly predict how events will unfold, who will clash, who will bond, who will betray, and who will rise. It's like watching a chessboard light up in their minds, each piece glowing with the next 3 possible moves. This gives them the strange ability to anticipate outcomes, pivot strategies before problems erupt, and guide people with a level of foresight that feels oracle-like. But the real uniqueness of their psychic ability appears in emotional landscapes. INFJs can enter someone's internal world so accurately that it feels like emotional telepathy. When someone is spiraling, the INFJ can sense the exact emotional thread to pull to bring them back to calm. When someone is hiding something deep, the INFJ senses the outline of that shadow even before the person is conscious of it. They can feel relational dynamics, tension, attachment, insecurity, admiration, like energetic shifts in the air. And because of this, an INFJ will often respond to a truth that the other person hasn't openly acknowledged yet, which tends to leave people stunned, exposed, and wondering if the INFJ can actually read minds. When they use this power intentionally, they become powerful influencers, not through manipulation, but through precision empathy. They know exactly how to word something, so it lands in a person's soul. They know when to push, when to pull back, when to stay silent, when to ask a question that cracks open an entire emotional vault. People feel understood by INFJs in a way that borders on mystical, as though the INFJ has reached into a hidden corner of their mind and retrieved something no one else has ever noticed. The energetic force INFJs carry becomes magnetic. People feel drawn to them without understanding why. It's the intensity of being seen, the safety of being understood, the quiet stability of someone who senses storms before they form. When they are in this heightened state, their presence can calm anxious rooms, inspire stagnant groups, and challenge people into growth simply through the clarity they radiate. They become emotional catalysts, shifting the energy of entire environments through subtle, intuitive nudges that others don't even realize they're responding to. However, INFJ's psychic power doesn't only work outward, it works inward too. When INFJs turn this intuition toward their own futures, they develop a visionary clarity that borders on prophetic. They can foresee what they're meant to become long before they get there. They sense the exact moment a relationship is dying even when everything looks fine on the surface. They feel the end of a job, friendship, or life chapter months before external reality catches up. It's a quiet inner alarm, a spiritual whisper that tells them when a door is about to close or when they're standing on the edge of something extraordinary. And when an INFJ aligns this intuitive foresight with action, something unstoppable emerges. Their ideas grow roots. Their goals find pathways. Their dreams gather momentum as if the universe rearranges itself to match their inner vision. They move with purpose, confidence, and an eerie sense of certainty that unnerves people who can't understand how they're so sure. But perhaps the most fascinating aspect of an INFJ's psychic power is its duality. While it makes them perceptive, wise, and transformative, it also makes them misunderstood, overwhelmed, and sometimes lonely. They see too much, feel too deeply, and understand too quickly. They predict outcomes that others aren't ready to believe. They sense hidden motives that people don't want exposed. And because they operate at this intuitive depth, they can rarely articulate the mechanics of their knowing in a way that sounds rational to the average person. So they stay quiet, watching events unfold exactly as they foresaw, carrying the burden of insight with the calm of someone who has lived the moment twice. When INFJs unleash their insane psychic powers, it changes the people around them. It changes the energy around them, and it changes the trajectory of their own lives. They become the quiet prophets, the emotional strategists, the human lie detectors, the soul readers, the vision carriers, those rare individuals who walk through the world with eyes that see beyond the visible and intuition that borders on the supernatural. When INFJs go even deeper into this heightened intuitive state, their psychic-like abilities begin to shape not just what they perceive, but what they attract. Their inner world becomes so charged with symbolism, emotion, and meaning that life itself starts responding to them in ways that feel uncanny. Synchronicities multiply. They think of someone they haven't spoken to in years, and that person suddenly sends a message. They dream vividly about a situation, and the next day, they find themselves living a version of it. Patterns line up, signs appear in clusters, and the INFJ moves through these moments with a strange sense of déjà vu, as if the universe is whispering confirmations to them at every turn. This deep attunement also gives INFJs an extraordinary ability to influence the emotional direction of conversations without ever raising their voice. They can shift someone's entire perspective simply by asking one well-placed question that cuts straight through confusion and lands on the core truth. People walk away from conversation with an INFJ feeling as though they've undergone a tiny emotional awakening they didn't expect. The INFJ becomes a mirror, so clear and honest that others suddenly see themselves with new clarity. And because INFJs instinctively meet people where their soul is, not where their ego pretends to be, the impact feels transformative rather than confrontational. As this inner power grows, INFJs develop a kind of visionary creativity that borders on prophetic imagination. Their ideas come in fully formed, like movie scenes, metaphors, or emotional landscapes that reveal deeper truths. They don't brainstorm in a linear way. They download insights in bursts of intuitive revelation. This makes their creative work, whether writing, speaking, designing, mentoring, or storytelling, feel enchanted and strangely ahead of its time. People often look back later and realize the INFJ wasn't imagining possibilities. They were predicting them. This heightened intuitive flow also deepens their ability to sense hidden potential in people. An INFJ might meet someone who feels lost, unconfident, or directionless, yet instantly see the version of that person who exists 5 years in the future, stronger, clearer, more aligned. This foresight becomes a powerful guiding force. They encourage people not based on who they are in the moment, but on who the INFJ knows they're capable of becoming. And because INFJs speak with such emotional precision, their words often become the spark that awakens someone's dormant greatness. With this psychic power, INFJs start detecting energetic imbalances around them, unspoken tension between friends, unresolved conflicts within families, or emotional exhaustion in someone who insists they're fine. They can feel when a space needs grounding, when a person needs encouragement, or when a situation is about to escalate long before any visible signs appear. This makes INFJs natural stabilizers, often restoring harmony without anyone realizing how they did it. They sense the emotional temperature of a room and subtly shift it through tone, timing, and presence. This powerful intuition usually becomes a compass that guides the INFJ through major life transitions. They feel when something is calling them forward, even before they understand why. They sense when a chapter is ending long before it collapses. They recognize the faint, intuitive tug of a new path before any logical evidence appears. And though they might not always be able to explain their choices, they move with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing they're following something deeper than reason, something that sees farther than the present moment. They navigate life with a blend of emotional intelligence, intuitive clarity, and spiritual depth that makes people wonder how one individual can hold so much unseen knowledge. And while they rarely claim their abilities as psychic, anyone who's been guided by an INFJ, comforted by one, confronted by one, or understood by one knows that something extraordinary happens when these rare individuals allow their inner intuition to operate at full power. When INFJs move even further into this elevated intuitive state, their inner and outer worlds begin to interact in ways that feel eerily fluid. They start noticing that their emotional frequency has a direct influence on the outcomes around them. If they focus their inner world toward clarity, peace, or intention, situations often shift in the same direction. It's as though their emotional energy becomes a quiet but powerful force field, smoothing chaos, dissolving conflict, or nudging events into alignment. This isn't something they consciously try to do. It simply happens because the INFJ psyche naturally broadcasts emotional resonance that others unconsciously respond to. As this resonance deepens, INFJs also develop a heightened sensitivity to the emotional truths people hide from themselves. They don't just see what someone is avoiding. They feel the pressure of that avoidance, the internal battle between who someone is and who they pretend to be. The INFJ doesn't push or expose these truths harshly. Instead, they gently guide people toward their own authenticity. Their presence becomes disarming in the most transformative way, making it difficult for others to maintain emotional masks. People open up without realizing why, revealing thoughts they've never spoken aloud because the INFJ's intuitive pull feels safe, cleansing, and relieving. This intuitive force also pushes the INFJ into a deeper relationship with symbolism and meaning. Ordinary events start carrying emotional messages, and small details become clues in a larger internal narrative. A comment that seems insignificant to others may spark an entire revelation for the INFJ. A dream may decode a problem they've been struggling with for months. An everyday moment, a stranger's expression, a passing phrase, a particular shift in atmosphere, can suddenly illuminate an inner truth with startling clarity. It's as though life itself becomes an interactive language they're uniquely fluent in. The INFJ also becomes masterful at navigating dual realities, the one that exists and the one that's forming beneath the surface. They can hold space for what is while simultaneously preparing for what is about to be. This gives them the rare ability to guide people or situations through transitions with grace. They know when to wait, when to act, and when to step away entirely. Others interpret this as mysterious wisdom, but for INFJs it feels like following an inner compass that always points toward the future's emotional trajectory. This deepening intuitive connection also heightens their ability to detect the emotional truth behind a person's words. They can sense when someone's language is out of alignment with their energy. They hear the pain behind humor, the fear behind aggression, the longing behind indifference. This allows them to respond not to the surface-level message, but to the deeper emotional need. It's why people often feel profoundly understood by INFJs, sometimes after only a brief interaction. The INFJ responds to the soul's voice, not the ego's performance. This intuitive saturation eventually shapes the way INFJs move through the world, quietly, but with extraordinary impact. They don't need force, volume, or dominance to influence their environments. Instead, they move with precision, speaking at the exact moment someone needs guidance, withdrawing just before conflict erupts, offering insight the instant a situation reaches a tipping point. Their timing becomes strange, as though they're following a rhythm no one else can hear. And through all of this, their psychic-like power becomes less about prediction and more about alignment. They stop trying to foresee the future and instead learn how to feel the future, how to sense the direction of growth, the pull of destiny, the shifting emotional tides that shape the next chapter. It's a kind of intuitive navigation that looks mysterious from the outside, but feels completely natural within the INFJ's mind. And the deeper they go, the more extraordinary it becomes.